Prime Minister Modi has dedicated his government's first decision to the armed forces. The new cabinet met for the first time on Friday. Modi has announced major changes in the Prime Minister's scholarship scheme under the National Defence Fund. The rates of the scholarship have been enhanced. Now it includes children of state police personnel who were killed in Naxal or terror attacks. Quantum of scholarship itself has been hiked from 2,000 rupees to 2,500 rupees per month for boys and from 2,250 rupees to 3,000 rupees per month for girls. The National Defence Fund was in fact established in 1962 for the education of widows and children of late defence personnel. Meanwhile, in another development, the new government is set to present the budget on 5th of July. Another important date will be 19th of June, when the Speaker of Lok Sabha, the lower chamber of Parliament, will likely be elected. Prime Minister Narendra Modi walks the talk on day one of his second term. Modi took major decisions in the first cabinet meetings. Let's take a look at 4 major initiatives that were promised during the recently concluded election and how they are being implemented. In its manifesto, the BJP had promised that the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Yojana will be extended to all the farmers in India. The scheme will now in fact cover all farmers in the country and will benefit 14.5 crore of them. BJP had promised to introduce immunization for livestock. A special scheme has been launched to eliminate foot and mouth disease in cattle in 5 years. Thirdly, a pension scheme for all small and marginal farmers was also promised. Now a scheme has been launched to ensure social security for farmers. Lastly, the BJP had promised to launch a pension scheme for all shopkeepers. A pension scheme has been rolled out for all small shopkeepers and traders. The program will benefit about 3 crore people. Modi likes to project the image of an effective administrator. He sets key result areas or KRAs. He evaluates performance. He gives 100-day roadmaps. So we have divided the government's priority areas into 5 broad parts. We look at the opportunities and challenges for Team Modi, starting with foreign policy. Foreign policy has been Modi's area of focus. He is known for his bold moves and we can expect more in his second term. The appointment of S. Jaishankar as foreign minister is the first step in this direction. Unlike now previous prime ministers, Modi made foreign policy a major factor in domestic politics. An electoral issue, it was part of his campaign pitch in this election. His policy on Pakistan and tough posturing formed a core part of his speeches. Now the opposition tried to target him for his repeated foreign trips. He turned the argument on its head. He said that his repeated visits and persistent engagement helped build India's stature. In its first stint, he rephrased New Delhi's Look East policy to Act East policy. He spoke about neighbourhood first. By all indications, that is set to continue in the second term. The guest list for his swearing-in ceremony leaves no doubts about where Modi will spend most of his energies on. Leaders of BIMSTEC nations were invited for his inauguration. Now, BIMSTEC, remember, has been around for more than 2 decades, but it was only recently that the Indian government attached such significance to it. The SAARC had floundered thanks to Pakistan's terror push, and so India has sought to cooperate with neighbours on a different platform. But that's BIMSTEC for you. It will gain diplomatic currency in the coming months. Remember, it is a grouping of India's neighbourhood first, minus Pakistan. Now, in 2014, Modi had invited leaders of SAARC for his inauguration. He reached out to Islamabad. In return, India saw attacks in Uri and Pathankot. So this time, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan was not invited. He called Modi to congratulate him, though, for the election win, but that is where they have left it for now. The Pakistan press has been upset with the snub. Islamabad has been trying to downplay it. New Delhi is focusing on the other direction, the eastern neighbors, the Bay of Bengal countries. That is not to say that Pakistan will not remain a challenge, but India will not change its stand until it sees verifiable action against terrorists operating in Pakistan. So for the moment, no engagement, no official talks or meetings, although Modi and Khan will come face-to-face on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in barely 2 weeks from now. So far, no meeting has been scheduled. Now, the bigger concern is China, a perpetual foreign policy challenge for Delhi. The China-India relationship saw its share of ups and downs under the first Modi government. Modi hosted Chinese President Xi Jinping in his home state of Gujarat, complete with photo ops on a swing on the banks of the rivers, and the headlines, in fact, promising billions of dollars in investments. By 2017, the neighbors were locked in an eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation. Doklam was this close to snowballing into a military conflict. It stretched for more than 2 months. Intense back-channel talks led to the Wuhan dialogue. It was called an informal summit that was last April. Now, New Delhi and Beijing refer to the Wuhan spirit. It's an understanding at best. Sticky issues remain. India is far from resolving the border dispute either. The Chinese support to Pakistan is also a part of the new government's to-do list. And then there is Beijing's expansionist agenda. Belt and Road, in fact, projects in India's backyard have increased Chinese presence. US and China are locked in a trade war. There could be an opening for India there. Protectionism is on the rise. Right-wing leaders want to close down Europe's borders. On the other hand, Brexit has now forced out 2 prime ministers after David Cameron. Theresa May has quit. In fact, the situation in West Asia is also tense. The US and Iran are locked in a bitter diplomatic war that has cut off a source of cheap oil supply for India. In short, there is a lot that is going on. Prime Minister Modi's doctrine of strategic autonomy will be tested now.